All right. Thank you. Oh, and Steve's here too. So this meeting is going to move along fairly quickly. It's an update and we have several things just to bring to your attention. And then we need to schedule another meeting. So,
Call the meeting
so,
to order.
yeah, so welcome to this remote meeting of the Six-Town Regional Planning Board being held this Tuesday, March 17th. We do have a quorum. So all our votes, including the one to open the meeting will be by roll call. So, and you please answer by saying present. Greg,
Present.
Alan is present. Michelle,
Present.
Bill,
Present.
Steve,
Present.
Dorinda,
Present.
and Jane.
Present.
And so this meeting is being held in public. We had, I think everything was fine when the link was sent out somewhere between now and a while ago because it was put out probably a week and a half ago. There must have been a break in it, so we sent out another link to be sure. So one of the things was the approval of the minutes. I want to have one motion once we have a chance to have feedback and review them. I did try to use AI. I did not find it a very friendly process because it generically covers a lot of things. So I went back and tried to pick out the salient points to it. So what I'd like to do is Greg is prepared to put them on the screen if you need to, but I'd start with just reading through each one for a second, the date. And if you have a comment, then make it, and he can maybe call it up if it's going to be extensive. If not, I'll just go to the next date. So the first one was the January 15th minutes. Did anyone have any feedback that they had on that one? Okay, the next one was January 22nd. And then there's a January 29th. And then there's February 26th. I want to point out that in one of them, I forgot to put respectfully submit when I sent them to you. So I added that in. And then I want to make a comment on the minutes are accurate in the February 26th, when we talked about percentages and removing the percentages and just having numbers. But as Greg and I, in our conversation following up, we realized that that was not a good idea, which I thought was at the time, because if other districts are coming in and we had that number via member, then we wouldn't have we'd have to go back and recalculate everything. So having the 2/3 vote or the 3/4 is really important to have in there in case this continues to grow as a district. I would entertain a motion to approve the January 15th, the January 22nd, the January 29th, and the February 26th minutes.
So moved. Bill, that.
Okay, so Bill moved and Steve, did you second?
Sure.
Okay, so by roll call vote, we're doing all three. Greg Snedeker,
Yes.
Alan Genovese is yes. Michelle is on mute.
Yes. Yes.
And Bill,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Dorinda,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Deborah, Poteet.
Yes.
Yeah, and that is it. So those have been approved. Thank you very much. Moving on to the next one. So the six towns, we did send the six-town regional agreement to DESE, and they have provided some more feedback. Not a lot this time. Some of it was typos and a few things that they wanted for consistency. And so Greg has recently sent that back to DESE and included all their comments. The only thing that we are not clear on is they made some conflicting comments that we weren't quite sure how to interpret regarding the legislative language. It looked like at first they wanted in the appendix, then it looked like maybe they want it into the body of it. And then we had a section on intent, and we're not sure if they decided they want us to remove that at all. So we'll wait to have our meeting with them. And then once we have that, we hope to have you approve and recommend moving that forward so we can move to the next step. Any questions about that? Greg, anything? You're good?
I would just say that, yeah, we're very close. I mean, most of the suggested edits were, just putting a capital letter where it needed, and it was mostly grammatical issues. There is one sort of question that we sent to them today regarding the appendix, which had to do with the intent of the special legislation. And I think were implying that we should move it up into the body of the regional agreement, but it's more of a formatting issue than anything else. So yeah, we're right at the finish line. So
I, God, I hope so,
I
because
know.
I'm glad it's in September, because, I just feel still a lot of pressure of the stuff that we have to do.
Well, and
Well,
there's so I just for the record in this meeting that it really is incredibly complicated. I mean, I think people kind of thought, well, it's just a regional agreement, it shouldn't be that complicated. But when you start, looking at this regional agreement, which we have now, like inside and out, um, it is really complicated because you have to have language in there that, works to dissolve two regional agreements or two regional districts and a municipal district. And there's different ways to do that. And whether it's a regional agreement, I'm sorry, a regional district or a municipal district. And there's just so many sort of facets that have to be thought about. And then the timing was also very difficult in terms of the transition committee staying on through the beginning of the operational period for a few months until you can get to the biennial election. And so there was a lot of sort of just really sort of complicated things in this that needed to be ironed out. So really want to thank Michelle and Christine at DESI because they're absolutely invaluable in all this. So
yeah, yeah. And in addition to that, and just in all fairness, it's been a little bit of a moving target in terms of trying to sort out a 5-town and a 6-town, to sort out, what was legal and could it be moved, what would be moved through with our legislators for a ballot question. And all of those implications required remodification or amendments to the agreement. So it was complicated. Greg is right on point on that, but it also was a bit of a moving target that they probably were like, okay, is there anything else? Because they have not had ballot questions and they have not had this kind of a new district. All right. So once that's done, it will go off to our
Michelle
attorney.
has a question. I don't know if
Oh,
you
Michelle. Yes. Nope. You're on
Well,
mute. Yeah.
I could bring it up under other, but you keep saying I'm glad it isn't until September. I think we need to discuss when this vote is going to be. You've got a primary. The Franklin Tech School announced they're going to do their ballot question October 6th. I was wondering if we could do it on that day. Because all
Well,
the towns that are voting on Tech, 6 of the towns or 5, whatever, would be part of this. I mean, and then you got a November election, and the town clerks are going a little nutty over this because
so
you have to give people the opportunity to sign up to vote before all of this. And that's 4 elections within a couple of months.
right. So I was going to bring it up later in the meeting, but
Okay, we can talk about it later.
Let's actually do it right now, because my comments are echoing yours a little bit in terms of, so we said it was, we've been upfront about we're looking for a September vote. We have heard from Montague, at least from one person, that they would really like to have this vote as part of the primary, since people are going to be going to the polls anyways. And the sooner we know, obviously, the better. So our next step is to have a letter go out to the select boards. Maybe even follow up with, there was an idea of having certain people come together from each town and have a conversation about this, but to find out, when did the select boards want to, when did they think is the best time to do it? Montague, I guess they spend quite a bit of money on their, well, we all do, but, on their election, so that if we can coordinate it with one of those, that would be preferable. And from my perspective, and we can talk about this later, in another meeting once we get feedback from the select boards. But, I would really like to see a September vote as part of the primary. And then if Warwick, they may decide to have their ballot question, because they can have it any time. They might decide to have theirs early, and we might encourage them to have it early so that we have a better understanding of when the remaining five towns, if Warwick were to vote in favor and the other five towns do, we have a sixth town. If they know that Warwick, voters did not support it, then the other five towns know that going into the polls. So we still have some of those things to work through and to make
Well,
sure
to
everyone
get it
understands.
are you talking to get it on the state primary ballot?
Yes,
That would
Yes.
that would have to be done, I
by
believe,
July.
July.
Yeah,
Yes.
we know that. We know that. We've been in touch with our
Okay.
reps and to make sure that all the timeline is squared away. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just thinking October 6th would be a
It's
local
not a bad
with
it's not a bad
Franklin
idea.
County Tech.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea actually, because then it would be just like two issues, the tech
Right.
school
Locally.
and that. Yeah, I mean
Locally.
that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So
So
we can talk about that, Michelle.
yeah.
And maybe Montague could have theirs in September,
I,
and locally you could have yours in
well,
October. I don't
I
know.
think what Michelle's bringing up is that they're going to have to
They're
anyways,
going to have to do it
because
anyways in
it's tech.
October.
It's tech. Yeah, they're going to have to
Yeah.
do it. So there you go. So that's a
Right.
good option. That's a
That's a
great
that's a
idea.
good option.
Well, that will require discussion with tech because tech has to foot the bill for all of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're going to have totally separate ballot.
Well, that's true. That's a good point.
That's a great point.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can look into that. I don't. Yeah, we should keep moving because
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I want to be done in like 20 minutes. So that's the review of the sixth town. Then it would go to our attorney, and then Desi will be doing the same thing. I also we need to, or Greg and I will be drafting a letter very specifically now as we're finished getting close to the finish line of what we want the attorney to do. We've been keeping him updated. He's had a number of documents, but I have not, insisted on a heavy lift because we have X number of dollars and we want to make sure when he digs into it, he's got the final version to dig into and we don't have any more moving parts. The five town has been sent to Desi. We haven't had feedback yet, right, Greg, from the five town. I don't think we've had a
We have
response,
not had
but that's coming
feedback
up.
yet from the five-town regional agreement, nor have we had feedback on the long-range plan. They are planning on reading that this week, so we'll have another
Right.
meeting with them very shortly.
And
Six
I
town
was
is almost done.
Yeah, and I was in error about the long range plan. I had a conversation with Michelle. They were reviewing it. And then subsequently, the next day, I got an email and I assumed it was the long range plan feedback. And then when I opened up and got into it, I found, oh no, it was the sixth town. All right, so that's that. The ballot question, I haven't heard anything back from the legislators. We'll touch bases with them later. But our last conversation we had with Senator Cummingford. I think that's when we found out, or that was with Jared Friedman, that we had 65 days and there wouldn't be enough time from September to November to have an election. And so I like the way this plays out in that the select board will appoint the transition committee that will serve for those 2 years to bring this to fruition. So we have consistency. So I think that works out. And then the election in 28, we have our elected school committee members. That's it on all of those. The consultant, we actually I had a conversation with five people that expressed an interest, and had different questions and so forth. I think that I will not be surprised if we have two people that turn in the request for the quote, and you have authorized us. So Greg and I will review that, have a conversation, and get that person started because we're almost in April. That's April, May, and June, and our funds run out June 30th. So we want to get the maximum amount of work during that time frame. we've broken it down to an hourly rate so we can watch that carefully, because we also have the legal fee going on. So that allows us to be closely in tight with watching the timeline in the work that they're doing. The two major asks are posting things on the website. Dorinda both of them asked if they could have a little bit of support to on that task about posting things and keys to the kingdom to be able to get in there. But I have to say, both commented that they were on the web. Two of the individuals have visited our website, and they thought it was pretty good. Who said whoever did that, they felt did a really good job. So with some tweaking and making our most recent documents available with a button or something for the long range plan and the legislative language, maybe our mailing or the brochure that one of our educational consultants did, and the long range the two regional agreements, maybe have the most recent and pertinent information that directs them to look at that, and then if they want to get deeper in the weeds, so they can go to the other place. So by the next time we have a meeting, I'm hoping that we just announce that who we've hired and what they're working on. They will be primarily looking at uh, questions and answers that we'll draft responses to, make sure it has the right tone, make sure it's balanced and clear, and we just start keeping that as up to date as possible. So that is on the communication consultant. I think I've covered all of the things. I'm a little disappointed, but I get it in terms of we're not having a meeting with Desi again until the week of the 23rd. They have vacations too. Michelle's on one, and then won't be in the office, and then Christine won't be in the office. So they're both back on that week, the 23rd. So
That's next week, Alan.
yeah, it is next week. But when I had the conversation 2 weeks ago, that sounded like long time away. So we had a meeting scheduled for, I think it was the March 26th. Do we, or no, no. When was our next week's schedule?
Yeah, it was the 26th.
23rd. Well,
It is the 26th, March
was it
26th. I wrote it in two places. I
25th?
wrote on the 25th or the
Yeah.
26th.
On the agenda, you have it as the 25th.
Yeah.
Does that work for folks? Because
Yeah.
I don't know if it works if we would have met with Desi.
26 I can't do. It's a school committee meeting.
Yeah. I think people sort of said back then that the 25th could work. So let's
Will you have met with Desi?
well, that's what I was just saying,
Yeah,
Jane.
we're not
I don't
sure
know.
yet.
Or you're not sure?
Yeah, I just requested some times from them, so they have, hopefully they'll get back to us soon.
Was it 23rd and 24th and the 25th, one of those times?
Well, I just said next, as soon as possible.
All right. Well, if we have to, then we would postpone, but I do not want to go too much further away. Can we put down the 31st as a backup, which is a Tuesday? Bill, is school committee meeting, or is that
I think that's fine.
all right? Can
Yeah,
people
I can't do it all next week. I could do the
Okay.
31st.
Yeah, I mean the next proposed or tentative date would have been April 7th and then April 21st.
So let's pencil in if people are okay with March 31st, which is a Tuesday. All right, as our backup.
Yeah, okay. I have a budget meeting, but I can probably skip out after an hour.
That's
Okay.
back up to what, the 25th or the 26th? What are we?
So
Yeah, 25th.
the 25th is when we're meeting. The backup will be the 31st. Tuesday the 31st. Um, have you been hearing, before we adjourn, have you been hearing, uh, well, let me start with me. So I've been hearing that, there's been a lull, as we know, because we're working on these documents, in the communication from the planning board. And people are starting to wonder, hey, what's going on? Is it still going forward? We haven't heard anything. And so it is really, really important to get start getting the word. I think the best way to do this right now is we start with a series of newspaper articles. I will craft one. I'll probably work with Greg. We'll get something together. We'll get it to the person who is going to help out with reviewing things, and let's start getting something in the paper. I did have a conversation with another reporter from the Boston Globe today who is very interested in the work that we're doing. I guess she has a team of people that this somehow got on their radar screen, and they're wondering, about the challenges we're facing, what our timeline is, what will the people be asked. So I paid attention to the question she was asking because that will help me frame the newspaper article because she's I answered her questions, but this is what I'm sure people are wondering. So we need to start getting people in this process. We're also thinking about having some of you review the article and make any comments, and maybe if you have an idea, you can submit an article so that we keep this in the forefront, because we have 3 months of active, and then we have the summer, and then we're going to have to come right back with some intensified, I'll call them maybe pre-town meeting kind of things where we invite the public to come in and have a better understanding of what they'd be voting on. At that point, we'd have the legislative language, we'd have the summary, so people on our website, they could see, what the language would be and what a yes or no vote means and so forth. So that's kind of a basic overview. I am within the time frame that I wanted to do because I wanted it to be a fairly quick meeting to update folks on what's going on. I feel like I've just been talking at you, which I have. So let me just pause for a second. What do you feedback?
If I can, first, it's obviously, this segues right into all the focus on rural schools, rural education and the funding for that. And then speaking of funding, after June 30th, this is a total volunteer situation because you have no money. So you have to plan on that for your whatever they're called, get-togethers with people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing that I'm a little disappointed in is with the rural school and declining enrollment. It was nice to see the declining enrollment as being acknowledged at this point, because I do believe people still have this misunderstanding of regionalization. I think it's really been focused on finances and equitable funding through the state. What's not being talked about is, we have actually a very progressive uh, state funding mechanism. The hold harmless is incredibly progressive if you think about it. I mean, it doesn't feel that way because towns don't want to give up the resources that they have, but because it's not taking away. If we didn't have hold harmless, most of these districts would not be around. I mean, a lot of districts would not be able to sustain themselves financially at all.
Right.
And I think that is not mentioned by our reps. It's not mentioned in the newspapers. Is that there is some regressive sides to it, which is the cap, the 82.5%, which is giving a floor to wealthier communities that is inequitable. But the state can come back and say, well, yeah, but hold harmless is very progressive. You lost, potentially 15%, 50% of your enrollment, and yet we have maintained minimum aid and increased it, even if it's by a little bit amount. So you're losing, students where the dollar is supposed to be attached to those students, and yet they keep honoring it and honoring it every year. And so what we need to really focus on, and what I've been saying all along it's like, look, this is not about finances. This is about structural declines in enrollment, and it's about the benefits that will return by making our educational communities larger. And if you have parents complain and say that, wait a minute, my kid's going to get lost, the first thing I bring up is, well, let's just say you could send your kid to Deerfield Academy or and Northfield Mount Herman for free. Are you going to say no? Oh no. Why? Why? Because they offer all these things. Well, why do they offer all these things? Well, because they're wealthy. No. They have 650 students in those schools. These are, and so I say, well, if you're worried about combining Pioneer and Gil Montague and Warwick together, you're going to have a high school that's half the size of these schools. And you're saying you wouldn't think twice about sending it to a school of 650, but you're worried about your kid getting lost in a high school of 320? I mean, this is a matter of context and perspective that is getting lost, is that they think that it's about money, it's about wealth, and it's really about our kids and how many we have to make these programs work. So Mike Jackson, please get that information out there because it's not about the fund. The funding is being driven by the enrollment. And yes, it feels like we save our schools because, we can't afford this. Well, that gap between the required net spending and what we are spending is getting larger, but they are maintaining a state minimum, even though we are declining in these enrollments. And so that is actually progressive, not regressive. And that never gets talked about. That's balancing out the inequities on the other side of the formula, which does not get talked about.
I totally agree, Greg.
I do.
Reading these articles, I just
Yeah.
shocked at the lack or the absence of talking about just regionalization as an option,
Right.
or the fact that these schools don't have the bodies. You can keep throwing money at this stuff, but that does not increase the population. Every one of those articles that they just kept talking about protect our schools, give us more money,
Yeah.
and without addressing population. I mean, they mentioned population, but as a not as a detriment, just as much as it was just it's so sad we have so few students, sort of. But it was just amazing that this
Right. There was nothing about
place.
nothing
Just
about how
regretful.
there was nothing about how the declines in enrollment impact the educational opportunities, and
Right.
that making
Right. I
choices
mean,
is a part of our education system.
right.
You
And
know?
even Pioneer's article, like I think it was in today's, about students wanting honor classes.
Yeah.
It was never addressed why there are no honors classes. And it's because don't have enough teachers to separate out. They have to have a general ed. And that's the way it's been at Pioneer for years.
Yes.
Yes, they have some AP classes, but they never had honor classes where
Right.
you'd have a whole class that was designated for usually in Greenfield High School, it's sophomores and juniors, or sophomores, you get honors classes. Sometimes ninth graders would be allowed in an honors class if they were exceptionally good at math or English. But it never got talked about in that article. It just summarized what the students were asking for, and then the superintendent saying, well, we're not there yet. So it was really unfortunate. It's just like, it's just a I just feel like the journalism, the people writing these articles are just writing down what people are saying, and they're not
Yeah.
asking the hard questions or
Right.
bringing the other perspective, a significant perspective out about what is missing.
Well,
It's just
and what I brought up, just to piggyback on that, I had an interview today with a reporter about this, and I said, stop asking your superintendents, Stop asking. I mean, no offense, but stop asking your school committee members. I said, you have two things going on. You have superintendents that, when they'll close an elementary school to consolidate their own district. But boy, whenever it comes to talk about losing, consolidating, that's going to make them lose their job. Oh, well, no, we can't do that. I mean, like, what is going on? And then asking school committee members, well, you have this also, the local control and
Right.
home rule. I mean,
They're interviewing the wrong people. I
and
mean, it's
yes, talk to your
taxpayers.
long-term, well, and also talk to your long-term teachers that have taught in declining enrolled schools for 30 years. Don't talk to the new ones. Don't talk to the
No.
ones that are been in teaching for 2 or 3 years. They haven't experienced it. Talk
Right.
to the Deb Loomers that had
Right.
taught for 40 years and watched the programs go away, not because of the funding, but because of the declines in enrollment.
Right.
And we watched it. I watched it for over, almost 20 years in the school that I taught at. And that's what we have to continue
Right.
to
And
hammer home.
it's the
Yep.
teachers and also the guidance folks who are dealing with developing classes or electives or managing
That's
that,
right.
because it's brutal. I mean, I see it
It
every
is brutal.
day at my high school, which again is just also a significant decline in student population. Again, it's the numbers. And also there were no numbers in any of these articles. No numbers.
No, actually,
Class
it was the
It was
one.
madness.
The one thing that they mentioned was like about a 20% decline in the area of enrollment in the from between, what was it, 2011 and 2010, 2019. I'm like, well, what? I'm like, these districts peaked in 96. They've lost 50% or 55%. It's,
There's just no numbers in these articles either. That was another big miss in terms of information, getting information out there. It's not telling the whole story at all.
Right. And to expand,
Sorry, I love the recorder, but they're not doing their due diligence.
Well, this is a good topic for our consultant
yes.
to get the different word out there, right?
yeah, to figure out how to get the word
How
out
to
there,
get
and
that, yeah.
it's probably, that's going to be difficult. We'll have to do it through articles and to see how we could do
Well,
that. To the point that to expand on Deb's point about, whoops, Jane.
Yes. BNC TV said, give us your tapes, give us your recordings. We'll put it all on BNC TV. Anything you have that you want to put up?
Good.
okay, we will do that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was disappointed.
I would like the discussion that Deb and Greg just had to be put on the air.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was very disappointed in the Globe article that came out again. We had another one came out, I think today or yesterday. And, it was sort of like, wow, there's this, really revolutionary consolidation going on in Mohawk. I'm like, that is not revolutionary at all. This is yet more of the same that we've been doing. And, these fiscal cliff and cuts that we're going through right now at the town level, this is nothing new.
Right.
This and the superintendent's coming out. Oh my gosh, oh, we're going to lose our school. Like, where have you been? We have been discussing this for 20 years.
Yeah.
And
So-
yes, you're new, but this is not new for those of us who have been in town government for a long time.
Yeah.
And so again, we have to get to this narrative and say, look, we are cannibalizing our schools. That's what we're doing. And if you think that being progressive is trying to maintain what you have right now, it is not. Creating a larger educational community for our students would be the progressive thing to do. Not trying to protect, local control and administrative jobs right now. And I'm just putting it right out there because I'm tired of it.
Yeah. So Jane, one of the things we should do is we should loop back because we lost a very, very nice presentation in Montague when they recorded our presentation. We should do another presentation, maybe for the sole purpose with BNC TV and with Montague to get this word out. That's one way we can clear up some of the misconceptions and to drive home these points. Another thing that
Well,
to
but
yeah,
I'm being more basic than that. This meeting that we're having right now, from opening session to whenever we adjourn, could be put on BNC TV for the world to look at. And
yeah,
every meeting that we have, they're willing to put that on. If we have video recording of it, so much the better.
okay, all right.
And I think all that's possible. And after this meeting, I need to talk to you and Greg for 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. So to your point, Deb, about and to Greg about not seeing the big picture here, um, I had some people say, well, why don't you just form a union? You know, you can save money. And I said, okay, I was a union, superintendent. I said, if we were to form a union and centralize one central office, I said, that does not do anything for the kids' education. That does nothing for, having more programs and services and increasing enrollment. So I'd say, so again, you're just focused on central office and saving money, which is the wrong focus. We should be focusing on the education of kids. The other thing is that if small is great and we're embracing it, then why are we having more tuition agreements and ramping up trying to get more school choice? Because if small is good, why are you trying to make yourself bigger? So there's these mixed messages that are seem to be um, ruminating that we do have to address.
I
Um,
think you need to bring in the word syllabus a lot more, which definitely leads to what you can offer. And it isn't the kind of stuff that I've seen offered by, it happens to be Pioneer, but I'm sure they're not alone in the number of offerings that they list. But the true syllabus is based on what kids are actually being able to take. And the notion that you can mainstream everything is counter to what was just discussed about honors classes or advanced placement. Everybody isn't ready to engage in that kind. That's supposed to be a little bit more intensive, is my understanding. Everyone's not ready for that. But anyway, it's
mm,
all good what you guys have been saying. But I think you have to relate more to, I think we all need to relate more to the matters of syllabus, the syllabus in any school in order to address the budget issues, because sometimes with reduced kids, that kind of thing still requires more teachers. And as is evident right now throughout the county, every article that I've seen about school budgets is about how everybody's coming up 1 million or 2 million short. Thank you.
yeah, the opera money and the uh, uh,
ESSER funds.
ESSER, thank you. The ESSER funds, that just really did disguise the cliff that was right there and made people a little more complacent and thinking everything was fine because it was being backfilled with that money. And the town officials really knew, select boards, finance committees, and people that have been following this, they knew the cliff was there. I mean, the water was going over the cliff, but these funds were sort of putting up a little bit of dam to slow down that waterfall. That has been a real detriment now in terms of it's no longer there. And it looks like, oh, the finances are really bad. Well, they've always been bad. They just got disguised.
I will say on that note that at Gil Montague, we spent a lot of attention on the fact that ESSER money was not to be used for continuing funding. It was a limited time thing, and it was mostly spent with that respect.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was very prudent, very prudent. One-time spending curriculum and so forth to make it last. All right. Any other comments? This was a great conversation. Thank you.
I do have one other thing.
Yes.
Um, This morning I received an invitation to Mass Association of Regional School Committees meeting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Did the rest of you see that or got it from someplace?
I didn't. What time is it?
It's a Zoom at 6:30. This meeting will be together representatives from the 272 school districts in Massachusetts currently in hold harmless status to discuss the urgent fiscal challenges facing our schools. You do have to register, but I'll be glad to send this to Greg and he can pass it on.
Please do. I will attend. Please send it on.
All right, listen, I have
Yep.
another meeting I got to run to.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
I heard Michelle so moved and
I'll second it.
and Steve seconded it. Okay, roll call votes. Greg,
Yes.
Alan is yes. Michelle,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
and
And anybody who
don't
wants
go,
to stay
don't go
on,
away.
anybody who wants to stay on to hear what I want is welcome to.
All right, I'll stay on.
All right.
Greg and Ellen, we have a 3-town meeting, Leiden, Northfield, and Bernston, on Thursday night. I was requested to put the 6-town agreement on that agenda. So I want to be sure that I have the latest one, and I'll make a few copies to hand out. I'm not going to, because it's so much paper, I'm not going to hand out the 5-town one. My plan is to say every place Warwick is mentioned, that language is changed. Otherwise, the agreements are the same.
Yeah, for the most part.
And the current word is we're still waiting on Desi for final
Right.
Yeah.
edits or changes.
Okay.
Oh, is that what you wanted us to wait for?
That's what I wanted you to wait for because I want your approval to do it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Hey,
that's
Al?
it. Where's it being held? You got to go.
Yeah. Well,
So
let me just interject.
Yeah.
Jane, I will send you the latest copy. And then also, Alan, you are the host. I made you the host, so you're going to have to stop the recording at the bottom.
well, we're stopping right now. We've taken
Yeah,
a vote, a motion to
I
adjourn.
can't stop it right now. You have to stop it. 'Cause
How do
then
I stop it? Where is
go
it?
down to the bottom where it says AI companion record. You can hit the stop button. Should be a square or something.
I
Look at the
don't
bottom
s-
of your screen.
I am. There's a square share. It's a share button.
No, not a share.
Oh, I went there. So I lost that.
Oh, now it's interesting. It
I
seems to have.
I don't know
It
what
says it's
happened.
recording, but I can't turn it off. So you can just end the meeting too if you would like. That's fine. You don't want to share, Alan. All
Yeah.
right, good night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right.
Alan, just leave the meeting. It'll shut it down.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Stop
Bye,
sharing.
everyone. Thank you.
And I'll leave the meeting. Thanks. And that was at 7:15. Jane, you can stay on a minute. I was going to give you a call. Oh, wait a minute. You can stay on because did it stop recording? Where does it say stop recording?
Well, I got a notice saying that all of that was up at the upper right-hand corner of my screen. Do you have
All right.
a whole bunch of stuff up there?
Yeah, I got an X. Let's see, a maximum. Hold on, let me find it. Speaker hide. No, so recording. Okay, recording. Pause. Here we go. Stop. And are you sure you want to stop recording?